This video is proudly sponsored by Gamersgate. Download games anytime, anywhere. Visit Gamersgate.com. Hello everybody and welcome back to Elder Geeks Game Club. This is episode number 47, Star Fox 64. My name is Steve Wilkinson and joining me as always is Phil Summers. Phil, how are you doing tonight?
Hello, I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing very good, thank you. And also joining us is the editor and owner of ElderGeek.com, Randy Senchak. How you doing tonight, Randy?
Doing awesome. Ready for Star Fox 64.
It's been a while. I feel like I guess it's been
4 weeks.
4 weeks. Wow, yeah, because the last episode that we recorded together was the one with Joe where we talked about Primordia, and then I was on vacation. You guys released the episode with Mikhail from or did I say his name right? I wasn't on the show.
Mikhail. So. Yeah, sure.
Mikhail. Yeah, sorry, Mikhail. And yeah, so it's been a little while now, but we are back in full force, and we have been playing some Star Fox 64. If you guys are joining us for the first time, the way it works is for the Game Club, we pick a game, we play it for a little bit, and then we get together every 2 weeks, and we record the podcast, we do the video version, and we just kind of have a little informal chat about the game and try to have some fun, and hopefully you will have some fun listening to it and watching it.
I think we should turn this into a drinking game from now on. You know, for our viewers, whenever we mention like the game's title, they should take a drink. You know.
Oh wow.
I'm way ahead of them.
They'll be dead on this one.
Well, on this one, maybe we could just simplify it for them, and every time we say 64, they'll have to drink.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Well, are there any sort of YouTube rules though about that? I don't know. Is there?
You know, there might be. I don't know. But then again, there's that one dude who, like, his entire YouTube existence is based on him sitting down and, like, pounding, fifths of gin. So I highly...
there's people that drink all the time on YouTube, and it's probably all right.
You know, if you're of the under legal age variety, then just do us a favor and, I don't know, drink something. I was going to say soda, but don't drink soda. Soda's terrible for you.
Yeah, terrible.
It's garbage.
Yeah. There he goes. It's bad
garbage.
Go ahead and get one of those nice honest teas. Drink that.
Yeah, I like
balls. Cup your balls in your hand while you do it. You emasculate yourself.
So Star Fox 64.
So why don't you go ahead and give us a little
this history a little longer than normal because I happen to know a lot about Star Fox.
Because Phil has like a Star Fox tattoo on his ass.
Yeah, I kind of got a little out of control here. So guys, feel free to interrupt me or whatever, or add in some comments here as I go along, or else I'm going to be talking for like 15 minutes straight.
All right.
Well, not that long, but all right. So I figured we would cover Star Fox as a whole here, and not just Star Fox 64, because I thought it was more interesting that way. So, the Star Fox franchise is mainly known for its on-rails, which means you're constantly moving, shooting gameplay. So, it started with the Super Nintendo game, Star Fox, just Star Fox, in 1993, and the big deal with that game was that it came with the FX chip, which would allowed the Super Nintendo to show off, like, one polygon. And
it was like 10, come on.
Yeah, like 10 polygons at, like, 9 frames per second.
And it reduced, if you remember, they also reduced the screen size too when you played it.
Well, yeah, it's crazy. Did you ever play Stunt Race FX?
No. If I did, I don't remember it.
All right, that's like a racing one by Nintendo that used the FX chip, and that screen is even like smaller. It's like half the size. Yeah, and that game runs like dog shit. But the FX chip wasn't just for polygons, because Yoshi's Island made use of it for all the scaling and all that kind of
that's neat.
stuff.
I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
Learn something dumb every day.
Yeah, you're gonna learn plenty of dumb stuff in 5 seconds. So, it was developed by Nintendo with the help of Argonaut Software. These are the guys that brought the 3D technology, I guess, to Nintendo. So Dylan Cuthbert, this guy's kind of the man.
Ooh, can I throw in a timeout here?
Yeah.
The company is Argonaut Software?
Yeah.
Is that why the ship's names are R-Wings?
It's a good question.
Did I just...
It's possible. I don't know. You got me. There's probably some
Stumped
Star
him.
Fox fan that knows now. They're just like, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. Just lost my cred.
Thumbs down. Worst YouTube video ever.
Start Googling tattoo removal.
So at the time, Cuthbert, he was a young guy, dropped out of high school, went to go work for Argonaut. 16, I think. He basically became a pretty major player in the development of Star Fox. He worked on a 3D Game Boy game. Now look this game up. It's called X on Game Boy. It's a Japan-only title, so it never came here. And it's like got kind of crazy 3D stuff for like a black and white Game Boy game. So, this was kind of like his door, his way in the door to work with Nintendo on Star Fox. They also, speaking of X, there was actually a follow-up to that game on DSiWare. So it's almost like I don't want to say it's like a Star Fox like spin-off, but it's interesting to see like this is the game that kind of caused Star Fox to happen. You know what I mean?
Kind of like the game that caused Portal to happen. It's almost Portal, but not Portal.
Right.
Anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
All right. So, after the success of this NES game, the team moved on to create Star Fox 2 for Super Nintendo. That game was never released, but it's actually finished. It's complete. It's out there. People have played it. You can get the ROM of it, of course. The big deal with that one, though, is that it's not on rails. It's all range, which is you just basically fly wherever the heck you want to fly to and
That
shoot.
sounds awesome.
Yeah, I mean, well, I personally
ever
like the
played
rail stuff, but we'll get into it. I've played it. And then, well, I'll get into it in a little bit in here.
Sure.
I have actually sort of played it again in the DS version. So you can play it. It's out there. So then, they didn't release it. No one really knows the exact answer as to why. I think it was because it was kind of coming out like late into the Super Nintendo's life cycle, and I don't know, for some reason they felt like it wasn't worth releasing. So concepts like that whole all-range thing were kind of worked into Star Fox 64, which was released in '97, which is when, it takes a break from the on-rail stuff, and then usually it happens during like boss fights, and you'll circle around like a boss or whatever. Or when you're fighting Star Wolf, the ever-famous Star Wolf. So, Star Fox 64, also called Lilac Wars in Europe. This was the first game to use, and it came with, the Rumble Pack, which, at the time, I mean, I feel like when the Rumble Pack happened, I remember people kind of like making fun of it, but I mean, that kind of like set the standard. I mean, that's, every controller has Rumble on it now.
Yeah. Yeah. And
So,
I don't think not too many people were like super excited about it with, I remember at the time, not too many people were excited about it with Star Fox 64. They're like, oh, this is kind of neat, I can take it or leave it. But the game that everybody was really psyched about it with was Zelda. Especially fishing. Like, I remember like going into EBs at the time, electronics boutiques at the time, and people were just taking turns fishing with Link sitting in that damn boat and the Rumble Pack controller,
Yeah. And then also there in Zelda, there was the, I forget what it was called, like Stone of Agony or something like that, where the Rumble Pack would kind of like would go off if you were near like some secret rupees or something like that. Like you would dig up a hole. So they did some cool stuff with it in Zelda, yeah. But I mean, I guess, and Sony really made it standard when they made the DualShock, which had it built into it for PS1. But whoa, lost my place there. So yeah, Star Fox. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna help you out where you were at, but
Oh, all right, yeah. So it also had like a heavy focus on like in-game storytelling with the voice chatter and lots of like in-game movies, which at the time sort of new, sort of like if you were getting your cinema, especially on PlayStation, you were getting like full motion video, and it was always game cut, like game cutscene game, and that was never. I felt like Star Fox 64 kind of, merged it, made it part of the experience as you went along. So that was pretty much the end of Star Fox as we know it, because from here on out, things are just all over the place. So Rare's final Nintendo console game, which was supposed to be Dinosaur Planet, turned into Star Fox Adventures on GameCube. Did you guys play that?
No.
It's a bad game.
Yeah, that's what I heard. It was bad, so I skipped it.
Yeah, it's it's more Zelda than Star Fox. There's like a handful of flying missions squeezed in there, but it's just like, if you could make the most boring Zelda game ever, like there it is. They made it. They made the most boring Zelda game ever.
Ouch.
To their credit, like it probably like if you put that game in today, you would probably be like, this game still looks pretty good. Like it looked amazing when it came out. So when it happened, when it released, it looked good. But that's not saving it. Not a very good game. Terrible. So from there, Namco, they sort of brought Star Fox back in 2005 with Star Fox Assault. This game mixed flying missions, on-rail stuff, but it had like a very heavy focus on foot battles. Like you're just running around as Fox shooting things. Did you guys play this game?
Nope.
Wow, Star Fox lost everybody. After 64.
Yeah. After Star Fox 64, it lost me entirely.
Yeah, so Assault is not a very good game, but it's okay. I played enough of it, so I guess I liked it enough. But it's not a classic by any means. It has really good music though. Look it up. So 2006, Dylan Cuthbert, he gets Star Fox. He kind of gets it back. At this point, he has Q Games. He has started Q Games, which they're known for the Pixel Junk series, which I'm sure you guys have played some Pixel Junk games.
Wow, that's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah. All right, yeah. See, you're learning things.
Yeah.
So he was able to get back into the Star Fox universe with Star Fox Command on DS, which I'm sure you guys did not play Star Fox Command on DS.
No.
Oh.
And I have a DS.
So Star Fox Command is basically Star Fox 2. Like that idea of just all range modes, like nonstop.
Huh.
That is Command, but everything's all touch. Like you're doing all their barrel rolls and stuff with the touch screen. And, it's an okay game. We're still not looking at masterpieces here, but it's decent. It's not terrible. But finally, sort of almost coming full circle. Q Games worked on the 3DS port of Star Fox 64, which is just called Star Fox 64 3D. It's an exact recreation of that game. They re-recorded audio with most of the original cast, updated like the graphics and all that. But I mean, it's pretty much spot on, just Star Fox 64. Interesting note: Star Fox 64 is the only Star Fox game handled fully by Nintendo, which probably explains why it's great, and it's why it's the best one. Why it's the only one anyone's ever played. But it's weird is that like of all the Nintendo like brands, I mean, they've outsourced some of their big brands, especially recently. Yeah. But it's just weird that this is the like Star Fox 64 is the only one that they have done like fully by themselves. It's just, I don't know, strange to me. So how does Star Fox play? Randy, why don't you talk for a little bit?
Yeah, I think it's funny. I want people to know like what our notes actually say about this. According to our notes, how does Star Fox play? You fly and shoot. I mean, but it's true. I mean, Star Fox is... If you've ever played like a top-down shooter, Star Fox is the three-dimensional version of that, but you're behind the ship. So it flies in a typical flight yoke situation where your left analog stick, back, pulling back makes the ship go up, pushing down, makes the ship go down. You have a main fire cannon, you've got some bombs that you can pick up, and the objective is to really shoot as many things that fly onto screen as possible without dying, and shooting subsequent things and flying through rings of circles gives you power-ups to like extended shields and better lasers. End of game.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it. So that's it. Who wants to fire out their thoughts about
Steve has been the most quiet.
Steve has been really quiet, and I think we've started to feel a little bit about how Phil feels about this during the history. So
I'm not
And
sure.
People are tired of hearing me. I just rattled on for 10 minutes. Maybe my history was too long. I'm sorry, guys. You
No, I
can
think it was a
No,
good
that's
history.
fine.
I learned a lot.
Yeah,
tell me
no,
in the you can tell me in the comments.
I think it's
Suck.
important to tell all that because, I mean, really, I mean, aside from the port, I mean, I guess the bottom line is there really hasn't been a decent game in this series since this one.
Yeah.
You know? And that's a long time. I mean, what was this, 97 or 98?
Yeah, 97.
Yeah. So that's 16 years without a decent game in the series, and still to be held up, you know, as kind of like a flagship Nintendo franchise after almost a decade and a half of not having a decent follow up. I don't know.
It's crazy.
Look, I'll be honest. I don't like the Star Fox games, and I never have.
That's awesome.
What?
I'm sorry. I didn't like this game when it was out on the 64. I didn't enjoy it at all. There's things about it I enjoy. I didn't the whole I did not like Star Fox 64. I didn't like it in 97, and I tried to get back into it this time. So okay, part of it's difficult because part of this is me talking about a 16-year younger version of myself, and I'm also then my most recent experience. My most recent experience was I had no other way to play this game than to buy it on WiiWare. So I had to buy the virtual console. Sorry, I had to buy the virtual console version of it to play, and then the only way I could play it was with the classic controller, which is that thing that's like this, and it was horrible. I don't know.
Really?
Yeah,
what
because the R triggers, the L and R triggers on that thing, you gotta like depress them by like
Right.
2 inches or something before they register at all.
Because they kind of emulate the GameCube triggers.
Yeah.
It's bad, and so like I remember playing it on the Nintendo 64 controller and it being much better. So I mean, take that from me, you know, being what it is. But so I did enjoy it back then on some level because I appreciated all the stuff about it. You know, I don't like flying games is basically part of the problem. I don't like flying games at all, and I never have. I do like rail shooters, so those sequences during the game where you are playing on rails, I like to an extent, but not so much as like that I like a game like Sin and Punishment or Panzer Dragoon. I really kind of, I don't know, it's just a different feeling to me. Something about the Star Fox game doesn't feel like those to me. It feels more like
So you prefer like Panzer Dragoon, like Orta and Sin and Punishment to this?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I'm loving this, by the way. Bill's eyes, you probably can't see it because this video is going to be really small, but they're about to explode right now.
I mean, I love Orta, and Sin and Punishment 2, I think, is like the closest I feel like a game has come to like I've liked as much as Star Fox 64. But go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's a well, that's interesting. I mean, I guess that's just a difference of preference. I like Sin and Punishment 2 a lot better than this. Personally.
I mean, I can't like fault you for that. It's an awesome game. Sin and Punishment 2 is awesome, and Orta is awesome. They're both good.
Yeah, and I think I can't put my finger on what the difference is between them because at their core, Star Fox 64 really is just another. It is like a rail shooter, but something about the way you slow down and the way you have to do. Maybe that stuff worked better on the 64 controller. I'm having a hard time going, back that far to remember. But on the classic controller, that stuff is just screwed up, like beyond belief. It's really tough to pull off a lot of that, like doing a loop. Not the barrel roll. Barrel rolls are pretty easy because you just got to hammer on the right button. But to do like the somersault, those kinds of moves, really frustrating on the classic controller and not really enjoyable at all. I felt personally.
To back you up, man, just to be able to record the footage for this, it's not possible to play it on the emulator on the Wii, through the Wii Market or anything like that, because when you input that into like the capture card that I use for my computer, it doesn't recognize that signal for some stupid reason. So in order to capture some of these classic games, I've got to emulate them for this. So when I emulate them, I've got to play them on like my 360 controller. And even doing barrel rolls and the backflip, well, the barrel rolls I was fine with, but doing the backflips and stuff like that was really hard to pull off, you know?
And I wonder if it's anything to do with the C button, like the way Nintendo mapped the C button in the game, because there's not really a accurate. And the C button was the yellow thumbstick, right?
Yeah, it was the 4 yellow buttons and the
4 yellow. Yeah, it wasn't the
right.
You're thinking GameCube.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, I'm mixing them up. And so on the classic controller, there's not
What
really.
is it mapped to the stick? Is it mapped to the stick on the classic controller?
Yeah, it's mapped to the right stick, and it's just super awkward to do.
that's-
It's probably not too bad, right? Because you would probably just have to hit both sticks down at the same time.
Yeah, but it was not like it wasn't responding. I was trying to like it would do it sometimes and then not other times. It would seem like it never did it when I really needed it to.
Yeah, it's not both down at the same time. You've got to hit one stick left and the other one down at the same time.
Yeah, it's super awkward, and so you're basically making yourself go left, and then it just wasn't. I don't know. It didn't fire properly, and it was really frustrating.
I know what you're talking about, man, and I had a much easier time of doing it back in '97 or something with the N64 controller.
That's the thing about the Nintendo 64 controller. I mean, I love that controller, and as weird looking, I remember when it came out and everyone being like, what the hell is wrong with Nintendo? I mean, it kind of sounds like today, because every time Nintendo does anything, everyone's like, what the hell is wrong with Nintendo? But I remember when that controller came out, and that was kind of the reaction. But when you got it in your hands, I mean, it just kind of worked for games. And those games, I felt like they were built around that controller. And when you try to play them other ways, it just doesn't always work. And I've even felt the same way in recent years, trying to, like on virtual console stuff, trying to play like Mario 64 or Zelda Ocarina of Time through the virtual console. I always just felt them to be very awkward. I felt the implementation of Zelda for the GameCube using the GameCube controller was better because you had the C directional thing, whatever you want to call it, thumbstick. So that was a little better. But anyway, I'm sorry, getting way off track here. Yeah, I don't know how to explain why I was never really into Star Fox games. 97, I was an older teenager, I guess. I think I had a PlayStation at that point, and I think maybe I just was kind of like wasn't really playing much on the 64, so I kind of, there were certain games in that period, but I do remember playing it, quite a bit, especially like with my cousin and stuff. So I just don't remember why I didn't really like it that much. It's just something about flying games don't really do anything for me. And I think that's the thing, is like I enjoyed the rail parts to an extent, but then once you get to the boss battles, I just remember always feeling like I was struggling to get myself turned around to find the boss, and just always getting frustrated with it, and that part of it, I think, is what kind of killed it for me. And I remembered that, as I was playing it this week, each time I would get to a boss battle, I'd be like, oh shit, here we go. And then, so, I don't know. That's about all I got as far as why I didn't like it. I do like things about it. I like the music. I mean, I think overall the graphics, for what they are, have held up more so than a lot of like PS1 games and other games from that era. It's a weird time in games, and I feel like we've talked about this before, that 64-bit and 32-bit era of gaming, especially a lot of the 3D stuff, just has not aged well at all.
But they all needed to be done.
It's hard to go back.
Yeah.
We had to go through that time period to get to the PlayStation 2 and then the Xbox and everything, and the Dreamcast. But it just looks rough when you look at some of that stuff. But I feel like saying that, Star Fox actually didn't look too bad, I didn't think.
When you'll be seeing the footage of me emulating it, and it upscales really pretty.
Yeah.
Because with an emulator you can upscale the resolution, and it upscales very nice. I'm kind of with you, Steve. I'm not a big fan of Zelda or Star Fox 64. Phil's about to cry. I don't dislike it. It's just not. Out of all the Star Fox games, I guess out of the 2 Star Fox games that people like, I much prefer the original Star Fox over this. Yeah, by a lot.
Why?
There was so much about the original Star Fox that I liked so much better. The original Star Fox had a lot. You had a lot more obstacle dodging in the original Star Fox. Like there were so many circumstances where you had to like turn your ship sideways and fit through the poles, and you had to like turn your ship right side up and fit through proper spaces. So it was more like, I don't know, properly controlling your ship. And Star Fox 64 just feels more shootery than the original Star Fox. Not that the original Star Fox wasn't shootery. I think they were really, really trying to take full advantage of the fact that, hey, we're working in a three-dimensional space now. Let's do what we can in this three-dimensional space. And I liked that. The other thing that I really liked way more about the original Star Fox versus Star Fox 64 is the fact that the characters don't talk. I hate the sound of Slippy. Like, his voice is like a drill in my ear. And, when you're playing it on the SNES, when they were talking, you could just ignore them because they were just like, and you're like, there he goes, he's talking again. But, like, as you're playing it on the Nintendo 64, you're hearing Slippy talking, and you're like, boy, Slippy, not only are you, like, annoying, but you're, like, really incompetent, too. How are you flying this multi-billion-dollar starship in what is supposedly like an elite fighting force and all this kind of crap? Slippy annoys the shit out of me. If you haven't gotten that, here's the core of my argument: Slippy sucks.
Well, Slippy does kind of suck. I'll give you Slippy.
I think that's really it. Like, I think those are my big complaints. Like, I feel like the original Star Fox had, I don't know, they rode on the novelty a little bit better. I realize that Star Fox 64 is officially a remake of the original Star Fox, but there's a lot of really weird things about Star Fox 64 that I don't like. And like I said, a lot of it is rooted in the voices. For some reason, all of the bad guys either have like a really strong British accent, or like in the case of some of Star Wolf's cast, they have like a really thick New York accent. And it's like, so are you saying that all monkeys are evil and they're all British too? So what's up with that? And this is my final beef on it. What's so bad about the bad guy in Star Fox? Like, what?
Andros?
Yeah, what did Andros really do? Because based on what I've heard about him, he doesn't sound like a terrible guy. He sounds like he's just a scientist who wants to progress, technology.
And he wants to rule Lilat with his technology.
Maybe he just wants to bring Lilat together under one peaceful banner. But the belligerent, Star Fox force, complete with the incompetent Slippy, just won't let him have it.
Phil's out. He's heard enough of this bullshit.
Maybe that's what it is.
Guys,
I'm even looking at this guy's, like, his force. Like, they fly. This will get me off on a tiny tangent. There was a part where I think I got to play it through the easy route. I don't remember which route's the normal, medium, and hard. But there was a point where I went and I'm fighting on like a star or like a magma planet, and that level has got to be one of the most annoying levels I've ever played in a video game.
Level's awesome, dude.
Do you really think so?
I literally just played it. Yeah, dude.
I don't like it, and here's why. Like, I'm constantly losing health.
Exactly, health. And then they're constantly giving you health.
But why am I constantly losing health? Why is Star Fox so fucking stupid?
You only lose health if you fly low.
Oh, really?
Slippy tells you.
Maybe I should have listened to him more, or maybe I shouldn't have not let him die.
I think they all tell you. Yeah, the lower you fly, the more you lose health. So if you stick to the top, you don't lose health.
Why fly that close to the planet in the first place? Why?
They had to kill the bioweapon.
But the bioweapon needed to live on the magma planet. He lives in the magma.
He was probably going to be unleashed and dropped somewhere else.
That sounds like a big probably. That sounds like.
Hey man, they're making him. Just saying. That's why they went there.
I think this is a blatant anti-British and anti-monkey campaign. And also, Star Wolf is way cooler than Star Fox. Star Wolf's entire team, except for that stupid pig of his, is way cooler than Star Fox and his team.
It's funny that you say the pig, because the pig's one of the original Star Fox members.
Right? Yeah, I knew that, because I watched the thing in the beginning.
So you guys done like
Yeah, but no, honestly,
taking me and
it is a cool shooter. I do think that it held up well, and like I said, if you're gonna emulate it, it actually emulates pretty well. As far as shooters go, it's not so bad. I think that this is, you know, more along the lines of what you had to do in the 64-bit / 32-bit era. I think that a lot of the characters on screen were unnecessarily large and chunky. A lot of some of like the interface stuff I wish was a little bit smaller. Like when you
that's how it's done, man. That was the time.
Yeah. One of the big things I really liked about the original Star Fox was when you put it into first person point of view, it was a completely clean interface except for your targets. And I played it that way a lot. And it showed you like where your wings would be. But when you go into first person point of view in Star Fox 64, you see the dashboard of the R-Wing, which essentially would be kind of neat, but it really takes up too much screen real estate space.
That's not the way to play it.
But that is the way I played the original Star Fox. I loved that like first person point of view. I don't know. Death to Slippy. Back to you, Phil.
Well, back to me. Let's real talk. This game's a masterpiece. What the fuck is wrong with you people? I mean, we're for real. This game is awesome.
It is ranked like I think it's ranked like the 39th best
tier.
game.
God tier game. God tier game. Like brilliant, awesome game. So all right, so I gotta back this shit up now, because I can't just say God tier and not explain myself. So, all right, where do I begin? Okay, so this game.
Begin how Star Fox won't let him have his way with him, which is such a sexual.
Listen, I don't care about the story. Like, I don't care. Like, I like Fox. I mean, I like the Star Fox team because I like them. But I mean, you can put whoever the hell you want in these roles. I don't care who it is, right? So, I like these kind of on-rail shooting games like this. And we're talking about Sin and Punishment 2. We're talking about Panzer Dragoon or the stuff like that. To me, this game is like the king of these games. It's like no one has defeated this game. No one has done better than this. So, when I try and think about it, like this game has like a lot of layers. So, the first time most people would sit down and play this game, they would probably actually beat it. You would probably win. Did you guys complete it or no?
I got to the final boss.
Not this time. I did when I was younger.
Well, all right. So when you sit down and play it, most people would probably win on their first or second try. In fact, I can remember when I brought the game home, the day it came out, because I was pumped for it. I did beat it in one sitting. I was kind of let down. The way the original Star Fox worked was there was a hard path, a medium path, and an easy path, and you picked that path, and that was the way you went. So essentially 3 different ways to beat the game. The way this game works is it still has that hard, medium, easy path, but
it's performance-based, right?
Right. You need to do certain things, or you need to have a certain score in order to make it to these paths. So, you could maybe go off to the hard path, but maybe you sucked on that first hard path stage, so it bumps you down back to the medium path. So, so what happens is the game becomes like a score game, essentially. So, the first time through you win, then after that you start playing, and now it's about, okay, well, how do I hit all these stages? How do I play all these stages and do all these paths? But then after that, when it gets like really fucking deep, is when now, like, if you've done all that, you're probably really into the game, and now it is like score game. Now it is, how do I get the best score? Not only just like I don't know. I feel like when I was a kid, this is gonna sound so stupid, but I feel like I played Star Fox at a professional level. Like going back and playing this game, just like muscle memory, like out the wazoo. Like I freaking hard pathed the shit out of it, and like got medals on every stage. Like after not playing it for years. So like when it becomes a score game, you start like just like the control and just the feel of everything just all comes together, and it's just awesome. So I actually, it's weird to say this, but like if I ever watch somebody play this game, I get like real angry because
you don't watch the video of this.
Like, they are not playing right. They're not playing this game right. Like it's one of those games where I'm like a snob about it. because I played it so much and like I really love it. So your big thing is, okay, you can shoot, but you can also charge shot, and the charge shot locks on, and that is just like the key to everything. So, you know, what happens is you get multipliers if you shoot multiple things at once, and you want the multiplier. You know, you want that extra score boost. So, say you have a row of 3 ships coming at you, you always want to aim for that middle ship, so that you can take all 3 of them out at the same time, and you can maximize your score. So once you like have that in mind, like that, like maximizing the damage of that middle shot, like it's just like crazy shit starts happening, because you know there's bad guys where to get the most scores, like you might not shoot them the moment you see them. You kind of wait for them to crisscross, and then you can take out like 6 guys at the same time, and you start getting like real like crazy methodical deep about it.
Phil wrote his master's thesis on Star Fox.
Dude, it's awesome. Randy, like when you said how you don't need to fly between things like you do in the original Star Fox, like, well, in this you kind of do, and there's benefits to it. Like if maybe you'll see like this rogue little building on the first stage, and there's like a little slit. If you fly right through that slit, you'll get more bad guys to pop out that wouldn't pop out otherwise.
See, I tried to fly through it, and it looked like I was gonna fly through it, but
you couldn't. You can do it.
I wanked it.
And you would have got bad guys, and you would have got more bad guys. And there's all sorts of cool stuff like that where if the way you perform in a stage, like you'll get more things to pop at you, and it's just awesome, dude. It's just like for me, it's just like a rush. Like I don't really know how else to explain it, but it's just constant barrel rolls and fire and shit, and it's
aileron rolls. Let's get this right.
Dude, and aileron rolls.
Barrel roll sounds sexier.
Do a barrel roll, man. And you know, like I'm at this point, like where, or I was at this point where, you know, I knew exactly where I was going to use a bomb to maximize like the amount of people I was going to. The bomb was never like, oh, I need help. The bomb was always, this is going to kill the most people, and I'm going to get like the highest score from this bomb. So I just love how Star Fox can cater to all these different play styles. Like you can just casually play it and finish and be like, okay. Or, you know, you can dig really deep and get like super deep into this game, and it rewards you for it. Like, I mean, stupid rewards too. Like, you know, there's a multiplayer mode, which I actually played a lot when it came out. And, you know, like eventually you can use the Landmaster in multiplayer. You can actually play as Fox in the multiplayer. Like those are your rewards. But yeah, I mean, and what you guys were saying about like 64 games and games of the time period, there's not much that is held up this well. I mean, there's just not. It still looks real good, and I mean the frame rate is mostly really good, really stable. It feels great. I mean the control. I'm playing on a 64. I actually I upgraded my analog stick.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, you can buy a basically GameCube style analog stick
and install it into your N64 controller.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so you're not using the shitty things that just wear down.
So that weird ass white powder or whatever that was.
Yeah, I mean, I replaced all those. I replaced all those too a few years ago with new ones, so all mine feel real good. But I still want one that's better than that.
Yeah,
you can buy these off Amazon. They're like $10, $6, something like that.
Huh.
Yeah, and they're cool. They just plug right in. Yeah, and I played it like that, and I loved it. And there.
I wish I could have experienced it in its original state for this replay for the show, because I really felt as though the classic controller just did not work for the game at all, personally.
Yeah, I guess I could see it. I mean, I haven't played with it like that, so I don't know, but I believe you. I'm sure it's not perfect, but you know. And Randy, like you said, like the lava stage, you didn't like that. Like I love the variety of a lot of the stages too. Like, you know, you have the lava one, then you have the Landmaster stage, which is awesome. There's 2 of them, which are like, I wish there was more, because playing as the tank has like controls like the R-Wing, but it has its own feel to the mechanics. It's like the same rules, but I don't know, they just work a little differently, and it feels different. I don't know, it just works real well. The only stage I don't really like which you guys probably didn't play, is the one where the submarine. The submarine, it's an underwater thing, obviously, and it's just kind of slow. And that stage is probably the worst stage. But
I'm not saying like the stages were crap by any stretch of the imagination, but I think it's kind of sad that the first stage really feels like the most polished one out of all of them, or at least they did something to get the most. I've always felt that way. Like it had the most, because you start off over sea, and then you go over land, and then you're flying through a city, and then there's like, cool rock formations and crap like that. The rest of them seem to have like one motif, and it sticks to it throughout the rest of the stage. Like the first stage, Corneria feels like a planet kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that, and I mean, I feel like that's almost kind of done on purpose because Corneria is definitely the stage you're going to always play. I mean, when you go back to your replays, you have to play Corneria. That's the one you always have to play. So I feel like...
Why doesn't Corneria have their own defense force? Like, why do they have to call in Star Fox? And sub-question, where does Star Fox live if he doesn't live on Corneria? And if Star Fox is a mercenary, could he potentially work for Andros if paid enough?
He could work for Andros.
If paid enough.
Sure. Doesn't Star Fox live on his big Star Fox ship?
But he has to hail from a planet.
Who's flying the Star Fox ship if the other guys are flying the thing?
Rob 64.
Rob 64 flies it, which, by the way, I love that his name is Rob 64.
Yeah, I mean, the storyline stuff is silly, but I guess you guys didn't play Zonus. Zonus is just like an incredible stage. It's just, you're flying over just like this polluted like ocean, but there's also these spotlights. If you get caught, then you're screwed. And I think actually, if you get caught, you get bumped down to the medium tier stage, and you don't
really?
You don't get to advance to the next hard part. That is just like an awesome stage. It's just like nonstop shit flying at you, and just really cool like set pieces. The boss is awesome. And then after that is a really cool stage too. It's right before you land down in Venom to go fight Andros. It's like it's another space battle one.
Yeah.
But the Star Fox team is like invading his fleet, and you're just like strafing over like these huge ships, and they're firing like there's just shots everywhere, and you're destroying satellites, and it's just like Zonus in that stage back to back is just like awesome.
Destroying dozens of years of research and progress.
Yeah, fuck him, man.
Star Fox is a mass murderer.
He is. He totally is. Andros is just trying to peacefully push his way forward,
Yeah.
He's like the Nathan Drake of the 64-bit era.
And Randy, I really like the original Star Fox. I do, but I just think it's just got nothing on this. I mean, I think it's a good game, but I just think it's definitely dated. I could see if someone played it today, like I would play it and I would still like it and still enjoy it. But I could see if someone played it today, they'd just be like, "This is fucking bullshit." And I'd be like, "Yeah, you're probably right. It's probably not that good."
What's funny is I think where you are or were or whatever with Star Fox 64 is where I was with the original Star Fox. Like I would play that game like crazy. I was
there too on that one.
Yeah, I would intentionally break the wings off of my R-wing just to make the game harder on myself and like tell I would force my teammates to die. So I would make it as absolutely hard as possible and still fly through like the hard stage and complete it that way.
Wasn't it so awesome the first time you saw like the demon polygon head?
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah,
but I think I was just when Star Fox 64 came out. I think it was in a different place entirely. Because when the original Star Fox came out, I was probably, when did that come out? 93.
Original, yeah, 93.
So I was like 14, and when this one came out in 97, I was in college. So I think I was just in a totally different mindset at the time.
Maybe that is it. I mean, I was probably a freshman in high school. Yeah. It was a different mindset for me. So like when I was in college, I remember when we would get together and play games, we were always playing GoldenEye. And the few times that we actually got to sit down and play Star Fox 64 together, it didn't have the same effect. Like going from GoldenEye to that just wasn't the same. Like it was a more comparable experience to go from like GoldenEye to Mario Kart 64. Right. Right. Yeah, I mean like the game is not known for its multiplayer. That's not. It was a cool bonus, but yeah, it's not one of the memorable ones. Yeah, like GoldenEye, Mario Kart, and some of the wrestling.
It kind of felt like back then, like every game on Nintendo 64 had to have the four-player split screen multiplayer. It
Yeah,
just seemed like it was
GoldenEye blew those doors open, man.
Yeah, there was a lot of games that had that. Thinking back.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, they had to make use of those 4 ports, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. So really, I think that's it. I think I was just in a completely different mindset, and I don't know. I never really grew back into liking Star Fox 64 that much. So.
Yeah, and I don't mean to sound like I'm. I'm.
You
guys are allowed to hate it. You're allowed to hate it.
I don't hate it. I don't hate it.
I don't hate it. I mean, for me, like hating stuff is pretty. It's got to be really, really awful for me to hate it. And this isn't. It's not an awful game. I respect it and everything, and I have found some things I enjoy about it, but I was just never really into it. And I don't. And then me, I'm not like. Doesn't mean that that's a slight against you liking it. It's just the way I am. And yeah.
I do hate Slippy.
I kind of hate Slippy too.
I mean, I hate him with a passion. Like, he is terrible. And I truly think that Andros is misunderstood.
The bad guy.
He is not a bad guy. There's no proof that he is bad. Maybe the crazy dog general.
There is. He says it. You fly to him, and he says, "I want to rule Lilat." He wants to rule it. That he's bad.
Why? What is so wrong with trying to rule Lilat? Maybe Lilat needs to be ruled. Maybe Lilat is falling into chaos without a benign dictator, and the only way to control that is to get rid of the crazy dog general. What's the dog
crazy
general?
Dog
name?
General is only concerned about Corneria, the safety of Corneria. Well, not really.
I don't know, man.
He's telling you about all the planets. All right. Well, whatever.
Corneria, if you think about it, Corneria is fighting back, and it is reclaiming all this territory that was rightfully, Andros's.
No, he took it over. He took all of it over.
Possibly peacefully. Probably through, like...
He is not a good man. He is not... I don't care. I don't care what he's
go ahead. I'm going to make some popcorn, you guys.
I don't care if he's bad or good. The game's... He could be... I don't know. He could be... Yeah, sure. That's the big reveal. He's a good guy. I don't care. The game's still awesome. The story doesn't change it for me. I don't care.
The game is pretty awesome. And honestly, when I think about it, I think about... it's almost like... In a lot of ways, it's a lot like Afterburner. It's like Afterburner, but made for a better console, audience. Whereas Afterburner was really great for the arcade. I don't think Star Fox would be able to live in the arcade. Does that make any sense at all?
I didn't like Afterburner either.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you get flagged at airports as being a possible, like, communist or like, terrorist or anything like that? Are you on a no-fly list because of these things that you say?
No, wait. Why do you like Sin and Punishment, though? What do you like about Sin and Punishment?
I don't know. It's the control, the way it controls just feels more comfortable to me.
Are you talking about
the way you move around the screen? Like, Sin and Punishment, you don't really go forward, you don't go back. You just kind of,
Right.
I hope somebody makes a GIF out of that.
Are we talking about the Wii one? Are we talking about the Wii one?
Yeah, I've played both, but yeah, I've more recently, obviously, I've played the Sin and Punishment too.
Which is awesome.
It's a great game, and yeah, I don't know how to explain what I like, why I would like that and not the other one, but I think that's part of it is just the feel of the controls. But there's not really, I can't name any flying game that I like, really.
Not like the X-Wing games or Rogue
No,
Squadrons?
I hated them.
Really?
No, I didn't like them either. Trying to think. No, there's just never been a flight game that I've been like, wow, that was great.
No Wing Commanders? No.
I'm not big on those either. I don't like those either. I like the on-rail shooters like that. I mean,
and I think, yeah, and I don't know. I feel like I said, I think in Star Fox you've got that on-rail element, but it still feels like you're still moving forward and back and through the space as you're going through the rails, And I find there were just times when I'm, trying to maneuver myself in such a way so that I can get back and shoot the guys that are, kind of cascading
hanging out in your periphery.
Right, yeah, and a lot of times I don't know, all over the place, and it just didn't click with me control-wise. And again, I feel like I enjoyed it more when I was younger, but I can't really remember, and I don't have the opportunity right now to play it on a Nintendo 64, so I can't really make that comparison fairly. So take that for what it's worth. I can't make a fair comparison because I'm playing it on this controller that I feel like just doesn't do the game justice.
What about the new Kid Icarus game?
I like that a lot.
Yeah, are they comparable? Like, I have not played the new Kid Icarus game, but are they
Sort of.
comparable? Yeah.
It's actually more comparable to Star Fox Assault because
Really?
it mixes the on rail stuff with on foot.
Yeah. I mean, I would almost in my mind I would compare Kid Icarus more to Sin and Punishment than Star Fox. I think it's closer.
Kid Icarus is awesome.
It's a fantastic game. Yeah.
Cool.
So.
Yeah.
Does that round out our thoughts? So, like, we've got Phil, who's still in love with the game, Steve, who never loved the game, and I'm somewhere in the middle, but really thinking that Andros is just misunderstood and that... Seriously.
They need an Andros spin-off game.
They need an Andros spin-off game, and they really need something where they need, like, a backstory and just let the players know how it was that Slippy beat out all the other... potential pilots. Like, what happened to all the other pilots? Did they die off in like a crazy anthrax invasion?
Maybe he murdered them in their sleep, in the barracks.
Yeah, maybe
he's
crazy
the
psycho.
bad guy.
Yeah,
Slippy's the bad guy.
Because
he
so
went down there and
incompetent.
blew up the planet before everyone got there, and then he's
there is this part with Slippy I was laughing at. He comes out real slow. It's like he's basically being chased, and usually when they're being chased, they're like, "Oh, I got somebody on my tail, shoot them." But
yeah,
it's like real slow. Usually they fly, they're just, they blaze out, and they're being chased. It's like real slow. He's coming out real slow, and then he's got 3 people on him, real slow, and then he goes, and then like you don't really have time to get over there yet, and then he says, "Oh, you guys think you can take me," or something like that. And then by the time he's finished saying it, I have now killed everyone. Everyone that is following him is dead. And he's like, "Yeah, I showed you guys," or something like that. It's like, you didn't do shit, you little dick.
When he said that, I was like, "You smarmy little fucker! I did that." It was.
I laughed at it though. I mean, it made me laugh.
Now, Randy, I'm going to put you on the spot here.
Yeah. They
make a new Andros game, spin-off game, all on its own. It's a Wii U exclusive. Randy, do you have a Wii U? Would you have a Wii U in your house?
I don't have a Wii U, but I would borrow one.
Would you get it? He's saying, would you buy the Wii U?
If there was an Andros specific game, yeah, I might go down that route.
All right. Just curious. That's all.
I think it's a good way to go, and I really do. I like this channel of Slippy secretly being like batshit insane. like secretly he seems innocent, but he like stabs bitches in his sleep. That kind of guy.
Well, I guess Nintendo owns the Star Fox IP, but because I was going to say if Rare ever started making games, at Microsoft, then maybe that could be the game, like a modern, updated, like kind of like a gritty, raw version of Star Fox.
Right, by the way, I thought of why Slippy's part. I know why Slippy is a part of the team. He is a great mechanic.
Is that what it is?
He is.
Yeah, he's such a great mechanic. He's always pointing out the weakness in the enemy's defense. Thanks, jackass. The blinking yellow spot didn't say anything to me.
I only remembered it because they make fun of the sub and he gets upset because he made the sub.
Oh, really?
Well, I guess he worked on it. I don't.
So shouldn't he be flying the Star Fox blimp mobile and let Rob 64 fly the jet? What is the giant Star Fox jet called?
The Great Fox.
It's the Great Fox?
Yeah. I love how it's got the logo of the game plastered on the side of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, a Star Fox is showing up. Here comes, like they're labeled. They're like,
yeah. I do. There's also a part of me that really likes the Star Fox series, just in general, just because it's Star Wars without saying that it's Star Wars. There's so much about it that is blatantly Star Wars.
Some of it was a little heavy-handed, yeah.
Yeah, like the fact that there are wings. They're not X-wings or Y-wings or B-wings. There are wings. And then, that very first intro scene where you show you fly into the asteroid field and the Great Fox flies in and it's firing away and shooting the asteroids. That's clearly part from like Empire, where like the Star Destroyer is flying through the asteroid
it's even got
field.
a Force Ghost.
Yeah.
James McCloud shows up.
So I mean, there's a lot about it that I like, and I like when games nod to the original trilogy.
You know what's interesting about it is like it's just the thing with Star Fox, and I think what gets. All right, so I mean, this is basically a furry game, right? I mean, they're all
Now it
freaking
is.
furries. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I feel like the first one and this one, there's like a fine line, like between this is a furry thing, or if it's handled well. And I think like Star Fox is like handled well enough to where it's like not completely embarrassing. I mean,
I think at the time we weren't.
Here's how you can pretty much determine if you go onto DeviantArt right now and do a search for Star Fox and like Slippy.
Well, this is where I'm headed. This is where I'm headed.
Oh,
because it exists. It exists. Well, because now, I mean, with it got weird with Star Fox Adventures because that's like the Zelda-ish one, and they introduced like this girl character. Crystal.
Oh yeah.
And he's like all like, oh man, she looks so good, like that kind of stuff. And it's like, oh no, I mean, we're getting into furry territory now. It's like getting weird, and that is where it got weird. And then it gets weirder, like in Star Fox Command, it has like one of the things is it has like a bajillion endings, and all the endings are like, Fox breaks up with Crystal and stuff like this. And it's like, oh no, like this is bad. This is like where someone has to say, this is where we make Star Fox. This is where we reboot it again, and we cut all this freaking cornball shit out. And
I would be behind a Star Fox reboot.
And it's fairy time, Yeah. Hopefully, it would be not hopefully, but it would be awesome if like Retro were making one. If Retro were doing a Star Fox, it would be awesome. That's one of like the rumors that's been floating around forever.
Believe
there was actually a rumor of last year. Do you remember the Star Fox Cross Metroid rumor? Oh, thank God that was not true. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, Nintendo's not doing they're not doing a presser this year.
Well, they're not doing a keynote, but they are still. They're having smaller events where they're going to unveil all their games that are. I'm sure they're going to. If they don't announce games, then
they'll announce games. I mean, what's like my theory? Were you gonna say something, Randy?
No, I was just crossing my fingers. I was like,
yeah.
Please
I mean, they have
games.
to, but like, what's gonna happen is their normal time, whatever. It's Tuesday at 12 noon, which has been the last however many years. They will probably have like a mega Nintendo Direct, which is just, and it'll probably be awesome because it's probably just gonna be like boom, 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 boom. None of that friggin' just walking around on stage being embarrassing, and you know what I mean? Like it's just it'll cut all that shit, and it'd probably be like just like a cool presentation of just like all their shit. And everybody's gonna get the same information and news, and it's probably just how it's gonna roll.
Everybody's gonna be finding out about it before I do, and I'll be there.
That's how it goes when you're there. we were when we were at the one we went to, we were getting more news from Phil's brother texting him.
Oh really?
He was back at home watching the live blogs and stuff because that was before video was streamed on the internet.
Right.
Yeah, so he was like texting us news, and we're like, "No way, really?" we're like there.
And I think the way it's working for the press, if I understand, is like they're all going to show up at that normal time, and all that shit's going to be playable to them. Like, instead of them listening to Reggie, they're just going to go play for a while before I guess like the show officially opens or whatever.
Cool.
So,
I wonder what the rationale was in that. I mean, part of me wonders how much of it is just Nintendo kind of reaching this point where they're like, well, you know what? No matter what we go out and do on stage, like everyone's just gonna like say we're full of shit anyway, and then so like why even bother? Why don't we just like skip? Because I imagine they have to pay a rather large sum of money to rent the hall for.
Well, I think they're still renting the same hall. I mean, I think that's where everybody's going.
I don't mean like the space. I mean to rent, like to take over the stage, the theater. Yes, the theater.
I think that's where they're still doing stuff, though. I think.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I could be wrong, but I thought I read that. But I guess
still the man hours putting into the presentations and crap like that, and
right.
That's a ton of work that goes into
and
it.
Really all that they could, like you said, they could cut all that shit out and just put out a Nintendo Direct and some a couple releases and stuff and be like, here's everything,
go play it and talk about it. Yeah.
And I think another thing that they mentioned is that they said E3 was always their global show, and if you notice like their Nintendo Directs, There's always a Japan one, American one, and a European one, and they all, even though a lot of them have a lot of the same stuff, they also differ for like games that are coming out in those territories. So I think what they'll do is they'll probably release 3 videos and they'll all highlight the stuff from those territories. And you know what I mean? Instead of going up there and giving here's everything for the world, it's going to be more targeted towards that market.
Right.
So.
Yeah, personally, I love the Nintendo Directs. I think they're great, but I'm not, making my living covering game news. So I could see how that would be frustrating to someone who, makes their living breaking that news and then having that kind of taken away from them. Why that might leave a little bit of a bad taste in their mouth. But for me, as just a guy who likes to play games, and I think they're great. I enjoy them.
And Iwata is so great.
He is great. I like him too. I think he's a really great figurehead for a company or a spokesperson because he has fun with it. He's willing to just kind of goof on himself, and I think that's a good quality. I think Jack Tretton. I'm saying Trenton like the capital of our state.
Yeah.
I think he's another one who can kind of have a little fun with it and poke fun at himself too.
Yeah.
But not so much the dude, not the Don dude, not him, the dude with the hair that's like over the guy from
Don Matrick.
Yeah, he doesn't seem like...
Don's the worst, man. Well, Don comes out and it's just like, you are. I know we're all geeks or whatever. It's like, you are such a geek. Like, you're such a nerd man comes out.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Oh, you nerds.
Yeah. Like everybody probably makes fun of him the moment he walks away. Like he's just like that. That's how he comes off to me. Like
fucking Don again. Jesus.
Yeah. Like he just I don't know. There's something about Don. I don't like Don. Well, maybe he's a nice guy, but as far as him being a presenter,
I'm sure he's wonderful and his family loves him.
Actually, he's probably a complete douchebag. Anybody making that moolah is probably an asshole.
Oh shit!
Everybody that works with him hates the Don. All right, I'm sorry. So, yeah, so that's Star Fox, and I hope. I mean, Star Fox is basically dead right now. So, I don't know. Maybe it's for the better.
How did the 3DS version do? I mean, that came out a couple years ago, right? How did that sell? I don't really remember.
I mean, it probably did okay. I'll put it this way: I didn't buy it.
Yeah. Neither did I. So
and I love. Well, I mean, I would not expect you to buy it, but
well,
I mean, like diehard Star Fox 64 fan didn't buy it. So
yeah, that says something. I mean, they've definitely it's been damaged, the brand, over the years. It's a shame.
Yeah. In much the same way as like Banjo-Kazooie, I would say.
Yeah, Nuts and Bolts wasn't didn't like that one.
No, not so much.
That's all right. Banjo 1 and 2 secretly suck anyway. It's okay.
Do you really? Well, we could do all that at like a whole other time.
Yeah, I mean they were cool. Like they were cool at the time, but looking back, it's like they're okay. Donkey Kong 64 though is the true king of the shit. That is the worst garbage. Awful. I hated that then. That didn't even trick me then. Like,
I don't even think I played that one.
Oh, it's dumb.
Huh.
All right. I'm sorry. Yeah, we've been going on for a bit.
Long time.
Yeah.
Next time we're talking about Fez.
Yes, we will be back in 2 weeks discussing the game Fez. We're going to be playing the Spreadsheet Edition, which is the PC version.
Spreadsheet.
Is that what it's really called?
No, that's. I think
Everybody keeps saying it, and I'm like, maybe he went back and called it Spreadsheet.
He should have. That would have been phenomenal. That would have been a great self-parody right there. But no, I think that's the title of the NeoGAF thread for it, and that's just what everyone's been calling it. And now with pivot table macro action.
And why is it that? Because he said that's what computers are for.
Yeah. He said computers are for spreadsheets. he's only making the game for video game consoles, and it turned into a whole thing, shitstorm from people. And I don't really care. I don't mean to sound like I'm like hating on the guy for that, because he gets plenty of that from all over. But I just thought it was kind of funny, and
then he realized that the market's changed and he wanted to make some money off this game. And
yeah, well, I mean, well, that can all be for discussion for next time.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's an interesting story in there. I'm sure, that led it to end up on the PC.
Yeah.
Word.
Yeah.
So check us out. Head over to eldergeek.com. Make sure you check out the Facebook page. Follow us on Twitter. Follow or subscribe to our YouTube channel and our Twitch TV channel as well. You can find this podcast on the iTunes Store, along with other places like Stitcher Radio, whatever the Xbox thing is called at this point, who knows. Android podcast directories. We're all over the place. I have an Android phone now. I subscribe to our podcast through that, and it works fine.
I found our podcast. I can't remember where the other day, but it was in a pretty strange place. But like you said, if you look for it, you can find it.
It is in weird places. I found some website where they basically just take YouTube shows, and then they have like a whole site like designed and laid out and everything, and it looks like a website. But then all it is just listings of episodes of like shows like ours and other ones, and they're just on there, and it's got like the whole description and everything in there. I'm like looking at it, I'm like, what the hell website is this? It's not like they stole it. They just took the YouTube embed code and put it in their own thing, and
right.
Bizarre to me, but okay, I guess there's like a reason to do that. I don't know what it is, but
I'm sure they figured out how to make money from it somehow.
I get it, probably, yeah. I mean, it still had our Gamersgate thing in there, and it's not like they did any sort of editing or anything to it. It's just weird.
Somebody out there has to figure out how to make money off of this internet thing.
Yeah. That elusive
internet thing
money
is blowing up. Gotta get in on the ground floor, make some big money.
It made me sad. So, Fez, play it. Let us know what you think about it. Also,
send in your feedback. Send it to us on Twitter. Post it on the Facebook page or in the YouTube comments underneath this episode of the show, and we will be sure to read it. And we will see you then in 2 weeks. Thank you guys very much for tuning in, and have a good night.
Goodbye.